Hey, good morning, guys. It is January 21st, and Chambers' scripture reference is Jeremiah 2:2, and it is God speaking through Jeremiah the prophet. And if it's a book you've never read, you should. It's a tough one. So is Isaiah, um, because God basically, it's like a court case. In all honesty, people think they know the prophetic books sometimes, but if you haven't read it from start to finish, then you really don't. But anyway, it's kind of this indictment. There you go. That's the word I was looking for. An indictment of Israel and what she has become, God often refers to Israel as His bride, and that's an apt comparison in this particular devotional today, because God says, I remember the devotion of your youth, how as a bride you loved me and followed me through the desert, through a land not sown. So this this love that just followed, that followed God, and Chambers then obviously then takes that and compares it to us and our love for God and how that manifests. And he says he says in this first paragraph, there is no joy in the soul that has forgotten what God prizes. So God, when he says what God prizes, God appreciates is not a strong enough word. Cherishes is a good word. Um, our worship is maybe even not the right word to use here. Doting, doting is, I think, if you understand that word, is probably the right one. Um, I remember one of the things I've told my son who just got married, is and I would tell any young groom, and the same thing with a bride. Um, Make sure you never stop pursuing, um, cherishing, doting on your spouse. That keeps love tangible. And I think that's what Chambers is getting at here, and that's what God was getting at to Israel when He spoke to him through Jeremiah. Was, I remember when you used to treat me the way a young bride would treat a young groom, and you would follow me anywhere, and you would just dote on me. And Chambers then addresses it here in the second paragraph in these questions. Am I so in love with him that I take no account of where I go? Um, am I wa- or am I watching for the respect due to me, weighing how much service I ought to give? And this is what happens to relationships too. Um, Husband and wives, that they get to the point where they think, well, I deserve this person to show me more respect or do more for me, and then that in in um in response, I'll do more for them. And this whole idea of relationships being a balance, and yeah, so relationships being a balance, like if you give more, I'll give more. If you give more, if you give less, I'm going to give less. And it's kind of it's an interesting way to think. If we think about our relationship with God that way, then we really have to understand, and this is where it breaks down, if we don't understand what He gave. And so this whole idea of what I give is in response to what He's given, that's actually not a bad place to start, because if we think about what God gave um, in His Son, then then who are we to think that we could ever give less than our utmost? Our utmost is what how Chambers puts it. Um, and I think this is a really good study today to remind us of, not our responsibility, um, but of what the appropriate response to God's love for us is. And that's the indictment on Israel in the prophetic books in the Old Testament, is you've forgotten. And then it's also the indictment in the book of Revelation when He says to the church in Laodicea, um, You've forgotten your first love. I think it's Laodicea. You forgot your first love. You're not treating me like a young bride treats a young groom anymore. So, um, if you're not married yet, one day you'll understand maybe even a little better what this means. So hold on to it till then. Have a great day, guys.